Hello and welcome to the craft room here on the farm. I'm Alicia with Country Mama Musings and welcome to block 22 of our Heirloom Afghan crochet along. Block 22 is this beautiful cross stitch pattern. So pretty, it's nice and fluffy and squishy. I'm sorry, there's no other word but squishy for it. I really do like it. It works up quickly, it works up easily, and I think that you'll find this a most enjoyable stitch. So, grab your supplies and let's get started. With our size H crochet hook, we're going to go ahead and put a slip knot in our color A yarn that we have designated for our Heirloom Afghan. And we're going to chain 25 loosely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 22, 23, 24, and 25. We're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook. This is our first chain. Here is our second chain here. We're going to place our hook into that chain, yarn over and pull our yarn through, yarn over and pull through both loops on the hook. Going to our next chain, placing our hook in the chain, grabbing the yarn and pulling it through, yarn over, pull through both loops on the hook. We're going to continue this all the way across, and I will meet up with you when we reach the end of our chain. Coming to the end of our chain here, we have 2 chains left. We're going to go ahead and place a single crochet in those last 2 chains, and we will have a total of 24 single crochet across our beginning chain. Here we go. We're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and we're going to turn our work so we'll work across the top again. This chain 3 will count as our first double crochet now and throughout. We're going to skip the next stitch, not the first stitch. The first stitch has got the chain 3 in it. Our pattern says we're going to skip the next stitch and we're going to place a double crochet in the stitch after that. So we're skipping this one and placing a double crochet in this stitch here. Now, our next stitch is going to be in the stitch that we skipped. Yarn over, go in from the front of that stitch there, making sure you get both the front loop and the back loop on your hook. Yarn over and pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. This creates a little X. Once we get going, you'll see that it'll create a little X across, and this is our cross stitch pattern. Now then, we want to skip the next stitch and place a double crochet in the stitch after that. Make sure when you're looking at your stitches that you don't think that this stitch here is your next stitch. This is where that one double crochet is, so make sure you don't double up. Skipping this stitch and placing a double crochet in the next stitch. There we go. Now going back to this stitch that we skipped, we're going to yarn over and complete a double crochet in that stitch. Skipping the next stitch, which is right here. Remember, you don't want to go here. It looks like this is your next stitch, but this is where that double crochet was for the first part of our X. We're going to skip this stitch here and place a double crochet in the next stitch. And then yarn over and go back to the stitch we skipped and complete a double crochet. Let's take a look at how this is coming together. Look at the pretty little X's. Do you see the little X's starting to form here on our work? These will become more evident as our pattern comes together. We're going to continue on to the end of the row, again skipping a stitch, placing a double crochet in the following stitch after that, and then going back to the stitch that we skipped and placing a double crochet there. I'm going to complete this pattern all the way across our single crochets, and I'll meet up with you when we get here to the end of the row. We've reached the end of our single crochet row, which was row 1. We're completing row 2. We've got 3 single crochet left. We're going to go ahead and skip this one and double crochet in the one here. We're going to go back and place a double crochet in the skipped stitch right there. And we have 1 single crochet left. We're going to place a double crochet into that single crochet right there. It's a little tricky at the end there. And according to our pattern, we're going to have 24 stitches. So if this is 1 and this is 1, that's 2. 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. So we're right on target for where we want to be. Moving on to row 3. Chain 3 and turn your work. We're going to continue row 2 throughout the duration of our block until our block measures approximately 7 inches by 7 inches. We will pair it up with a block that we completed earlier to make sure that our size is approximate. We're going to go ahead and let's work on this next row. It's the same thing. We're skipping the next stitch and double crochet in the stitch after that. Make sure when you place your hook into the stitch, you're getting both the front loop and the back loop. Now we're going to go back and get that stitch that we skipped, completing a double crochet. Moving on, we're going to skip this next stitch, go to the next stitch and place a double crochet, go into the stitch we skipped, and working backwards there, grabbing that stitch and completing a double crochet. This is a very easy pattern to follow, but it's a very, very pretty block. Skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next. Go back to the stitch that we skipped and double crochet in that stitch. Okay, I'm going to continue on and I will meet up with you at the end of the row. I've come to the end of the row and I have this double crochet, and let's not forget that our chain 3 up is a double crochet. So we in essence have 3 double crochets across here at the very end of this row. We're going to skip the first double crochet in the second, right there. Go back and double crochet in the skipped stitch. Whoops. Here we go. And then we're going to place a double crochet in the top of this chain 3, which counted as our first double crochet of that prior row. There we go. Now if you find that you're having trouble locating where your stitches should be put in, remember, always look for the one that you worked, skip one and then work one. Notice how our X's are lining on top of each other. Okay, our cross stitches are on top of each other. If one seems off kilter or cattywampus, go back and double check. Make sure that you didn't accidentally make a mistake. Also, every so often, check and make sure that your count is right. 1, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. You always want 24 stitches per row. We're going to continue row 2 until our square is the approximate size. I will meet up with you when I'm on my last row. All right, I've started what I think will be my last row. Let's check it against a square we've already completed. This is our flower square from last week. And we're just going to go ahead and place our work right up against it. And as I start this row, it would seem that I'm just going to be right where I need to be across here. So I think this will be the final row of our work. I'll set this aside. And let me just share with you that while I'm working on this, I wanted to let you know if this is a pattern that you would like to use for a larger piece of work, all you have to do is have your starting chain be a multiple of 2 plus 1. So we started with 25 chains, so that's a multiple of 2 times 12 plus 21. So for instance, if you wanted to make a larger blanket, you could do a chain of 100 and then add that 1 so that it is a divisible of 2 plus 1, or a multiple of 2 plus 1. So 101 or 75 plus 1, all different ways that you can come up with the length and the width of your project that you would like to have. So just a multiple of 2 plus 1. This has worked up really quickly. This is a nice quick block to work up. The stitches are so simple. I mean, really, once you get your chain and get your single crochets, it's really just nothing but a bunch of chain up 3 and then double crochets across. Very simple, but what a lovely, lovely effect these little cross stitches have. Just 2 more to go, so here's this one here. And after you get going, you'll find your rhythm. It goes very quickly once you find your rhythm. All right, and just here at the end, in the top of our chain 3 here. And there we go. So there is our cross stitch for our pattern. Look at the beautiful, beautiful detail in this. It is so pretty. I love how right across here it almost looks like it's knitted right here. Do you see right here? It just looks like it's been knitted. It's so pretty. So what I want you to do now is do not finish off, do not cut your yarn. You're going to complete both rounds 1 and round 2 for your edging. I'll make sure that I place the link for the edging in the description box below. If I forget, comment and let me know, because sometimes I get ahead of myself with activities I have here on the farm and I forget to put things in. So that's it. This is the beautiful. So that's it. Block 22 is in the books. Thank you so much for joining me here in the craft room. Until I see you next time for block 23, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.